Plaintiffs D'Angel Banks and her mother, Jametta, say Jametta and the defendant were friends with benefits when she was still married. But after her divorce, they became exclusive. However, they're suing because after D'Angel bought a car from the defendant, he borrowed it back and then sold it without permission. Defendant Brian Harris admits he agreed to sell D'Angel a car, but says he sold it before she ever took possession. He's countersuing for unpaid traffic tickets.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you all.
Well, I met Brian back in 2012. We started out being friends with benefits. I explained
Medicare, Medicaid.
Full coverage.
Oh, Social Security.
Everything.
everything. Friends with benefits.
Everything.
I had let him know I was married at the time, and he was cool with it. He explained to me about his criminal past, selling drugs and all that stuff. And so we just continued our relationship, friends with benefits. And then I ended up getting a divorce in 2020. I got a divorce. And so we decided.
So you all see each other often?
On and off from
on and off, not
2011.
often.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
nosy. All right, go ahead.
It's okay.
So in 2020, you divorced your husband and
I
things
divorced my
tightened up with him?
husband. Brian came back around. At this point, we decided to be exclusive with each other. It got to the point to where we were even going to move in with each other. And so once he came around, we became exclusive, started talking about moving in, and now he needs help. And so I'm helping him. And
Why does he need help? It sounds like he needs consistent help.
yeah, he did need consistent help, and I was there to help him, but it was like he only came around.
How long of a time period did he need help?
Well, let's start in 2020.
Over a year?
Let's start in 2019.
Okay, what about employment?
He was working odd jobs at temp services, doing a flagger and stuff like that.
It wasn't enough to take care of himself?
It wasn't enough to take care of him, obviously.
Okay.
'Cause he needed
you
my
mean
help.
obviously, you're supposed to ask. Before you start giving your money away, you're supposed to know. No, it's not obvious. He could be running game on you. That could be obvious. Let me hear from
That was
you,
a
sir.
possibility,
Give me some
too.
background.
It wasn't no game, Your Honor. Me and Jametta, we've been on and off, just like she said, for over 10 years. She was married at the time. Yeah, she was honest about that. I knew about that. We was on and off. She got a divorce in 2020. We started getting a little closer, making things a little bit more serious. Her living situation became different from mine. We was talking about moving.
In what sense?
As far as I have my son, I received housing, and she was paying regular rent. So she had a little incident where she had to move from her house. So we was getting serious. I told her we could work things out. She was planning on moving with me. So I had a little few things I needed to take care of financially. So I just told her straight up, like, what I had going on throughout the period of the time she was going through her divorce. She was helping me odds and ends with things. I was even doing favors for her, so she would cash out me money, whatever, to take care of these situations. So my mother had passed, and I got in a financial situation to where I had to go to Texas, and I asked for her help. She left me stuck. Mm-hmm. So when I came back from Texas, I was still in that bind. We kind of like reconciled.
You say your mother had passed?
Yes, sir.
God bless you. Okay. And you went there for how long?
It was for like a week.
Okay.
Okay. And
when you came back, what was wrong?
Came back financially. It was just me by myself. So financially, and my son. So financially, I was kind of behind because
in 1 week.
Yeah, because the situation just popped up. My mom ended up passing.
What did you miss in the week? How much did you miss? How much money did you miss for going to your mom's
At least about $2,000.
Okay, so you made $2,000 a week?
Yeah, I work 2 jobs. Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you made $2,000 a week and you missed 1 week, that means you had 2,000 times 50 weeks is what?
100 grand.
All right, 100 grand. That means you still had 98 grand.
Hey, if that's how you will put it.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna put it. I ain't.
Well, I didn't work.
Nothing.
I didn't.
That game ain't nothing,
No,
man.
man.
I thought you ran it on her, and you ran it on her, and you're getting sued. So I'm not gonna let you insult me with that weak game. Go ahead. Somebody 1 week broke him, but I make 100. Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me what happened with the loan.
So I was helping him. His car ended up breaking down in the midst of all this. And so my daughter ended up buying a car from him before his car broke down.
That's not true yet.
I got you. I know it's not. Go ahead.
Okay, so she ended up letting him borrow the car. I asked her if he could borrow the car. She said yes, he could borrow the car. She let him borrow the car.
How long?
She bought the car in September of
How long did she let him use it?
It was only supposed to be like.
How long was it?
We haven't got the car back yet.
Yeah.
Because that's true.
You asked for your car. What happened?
I did ask for. A situation had occurred to where he ended up selling the car.
What do you mean a situation occurred? You
A
want
situation
to explain,
occurred
or is it
to no.
You want to keep it a secret?
That's not true, Your Honor.
His car.
Let her finish.
His car messed up. It was in the shop, and he asked me to help with some money. I gave him $800 to put on his transmission.
When was this?
This was like.
You're suing, ma'am. You gotta know this stuff.
I'm finna get
Otherwise, you won't win.
No, I'm finna get it for you.
Okay. You wrote this was like. Can't win like that.
No.
Gotta be very precise.
I met Brian back in 2012. We started out being friends with benefits. I explained.
Medicare, Medicaid,
Full coverage.
Social Security.
Everything.
Friends with benefits.
Plaintiffs DeAngel Banks and her mother Jametta say Jametta dated the defendant, and she admits their relationship started while she was married to another man.
And you didn't mention to him, you say, what happened to that $2,000 a week you make?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
In November of 2020, he ended up borrowing the car. And his car ended up messing up within weeks of him borrowing that car. And so he ended up taking his car to the shop. Well, he felt like I didn't want to help him get his car out the shop. So
Yeah, because he make $100 a year. He makes 6 figures. Go ahead.
so
Tell him
he,
that. Go ahead.
No, I didn't tell him that. So he sold the car to get the rest of the money to get his car out the shop.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I didn't know about him selling the car until after the car.
That's
was
not
sold.
true, Your
All
Honor.
right. Tell me what happened with the
All right, what happened? I had two cars already, Your Honor.
Of course.
2 Monte Carlos.
Of course.
One in SS and one in LT. So what happened was DeAngel needed a car. So I told her I was getting one of my cars fixed. So I told her I would sell them the car. But until I wouldn't sell her the car until my other car got out the shop. So what happened was
No.
Before I sold her-
What happened
what
was.
had happened was before I sold her the car, I got in an accident in the car. So I
sorry
told
to
her
hear that.
I wasn't going to sell her the car with that car in that condition.
Oh. What's
So
that?
I never.
You was looking out for her.
Right. So I got rid of the car. I sold the car.
Yeah, looking
And then
out.
when I sold the car, I put the money towards my other car that was in the shop. I asked Jametta to help me. It was a remainder of my transmission costed $21 to get out. It was a remainder of $800 that I needed. I asked her to borrow the money and she gave it to me.
All right, go ahead. So, what's the loan?
The loan was for over $5,000.
What happened?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Tell me about the loan. You got to give me some specifics.
Okay, so when we were gonna move in together, he needed to drop down his electricity bill so we wouldn't have a problem transferring over the service. I ended up giving him $1,200 in
When was he to
cash.
repay you?
That's not true.
He was supposed to repay me in April, the last week of April of this year.
What happened when you asked for your money in April?
He said he didn't start his job like he expected it, so he can't start paying in 2 weeks.
Okay, so that's $1,200.
Yeah, okay. If you want to go to evidence, page 10, there's a list of the amount of money that I loaned him.
800 January 20, 200 February, another $45. You taking $45? $45. 100, six-figure man, taking 40. Another 40. Another 1,200. What do you say about the loan, sir?
It wasn't no loan.
Okay, good enough. I believe her. What's your counterclaim for traffic tickets? How does she owe you?
She was sick. She was at my house. She needed to get to the hospital. Her daughter's the only one who knows how to deal with her when she's sick like that. I rushed her to the house. She was trying to tell me, baby, speed up, hurry up. So she needed to get to the hospital. I was speeding. Police caught me speeding, pulled over. I was in her car.
I understand.
She was sick. It was
$5,000
emergency.
for you. Your claim is dismissed. That was you speeding. Tell them to get out of here.
Get out of here.
You know what she do what she say.
It's funny. You still my favorite judge.
My man.
It's all right. It's done. It's over with.
We still good. I still love you.
Plaintiff Doris Schleicher says the defendant is her sister, and Doris allowed her and her boyfriend to move in with her. But she claims they argued constantly, smoked in the house, and rarely cleaned up after themselves. She's suing her sister for rent and the cost of a car. Defendant Faye Bruckerhoff says while living with Doris, she removed all of the utensils and pots and pans from the kitchen and cut the electricity off. So she was forced to eat out all the time. Faye denies owing Doris for anything.
Start with you.
Well, Faye and I have had an up and down relationship pretty much our whole lives. You know, it'd go good and then it wouldn't. And then there came to a point where she needed a home, her and her boyfriend. And so I have a big heart and I didn't want her to be homeless, so I allowed her and her boyfriend to move in.
And what was the agreement?
The agreement was that they pay $600 a month rent, no deposit, and that they moved in the middle of July, so I let them have those 2 weeks free and start August 1st.
Okay.
And so then they moved in, and it started almost immediately. It seemed like they were leaving messes in the house, smoking in the house. I would ask them to clean their messes up, and then I would get screamed at. My son lived there too, and his girlfriend, so we had parking spots or whatever, and I'd ask them not to park in my spot. They'd park in my spot, and they would drink sometimes, and they'd get in their arguments and be screaming and hollering, and we'd hear them upstairs, and it would just be embarrassing for my son when he'd have company over, or it just kind of made the whole household feel.
What would they say when you mention these things to you?
I'll get you the money. She'd just kind of scream at me. I'll
The
get
other
you.
issues, not the money. The issues.
Oh, all the other issues.
About now.
We'll clean it up. Just give us a time. She would just scream at me
nasty
about
about
it.
it.
Yeah, and it just went on and on and on. There'd be times where they'd come up and they might get something out of the refrigerator that was mine, and I didn't mind sharing, but they would take it downstairs where they lived, and then they wouldn't bring it back up, so I'd have to go down there and look for my food or whatever.
Where are you from?
St. Louis, outside of St. Louis.
Well, St. Louis, they know what to do too. I don't know when you're in part of St. Louis. You're supposed to write your name on your food when you put it in. They didn't do that in your house?
No, we didn't.
Oh, you must didn't come up poor.
Well, no, we.
Oh, my kids do it now, and they've been all right all their life, and they still take your food. You have to put your name on your food.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Oh, no, you'll never see that food again.
There'd be times where they'd come up and they might get something out of the refrigerator that was mine, and I didn't mind sharing, but they would take it downstairs where they lived, and then they wouldn't bring it back up, so I'd have to go down there and look for my food.
You're supposed to write your name on your food when you put it in. They didn't do that in your house?
No, we didn't.
Oh, you must didn't come up poor.
Well, no, we.
Oh, my kids do it now, and they've been all right all their life, and they still take your food. You have to put your name on your food.
Defendant Faye Bruckerhoff is being sued by her sister, who claims while living together, Faye and her boyfriend fought constantly, never cleaned up after themselves, and smoked in the house.
You have to put your name on your food. Come home, I'll be looking forward to that food. Somebody's gone.
Yeah.
Where's my food? What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. Well, I know this might be a little petty, but I drink chocolate milk every morning. And one morning I got up to have my chocolate milk and my chocolate was gone. So I looked in the cabinets everywhere and I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, I'll go downstairs. And I knocked on the door and I said, do you guys have my chocolate syrup? And her boyfriend answered, yeah, do you need it right now? And I was just like, well, yeah, I need it right now. And, it was just little things like that would just get frustrating, and
They were having some fun with that chocolate syrup.
Right.
yeah.
Right. He was trying to have him some fun, Doyle said. But no, be kind to people. If you love them, don't let that irritate you. In fact, have a little fun with it. That's all.
Yeah.
You should have said, just leave me a little.
Exactly.
And just have fun with it.
Right.
That's what I do. You give me some background on your renting and tenancy with the plaintiff.
Well, I moved in with my sister, and the agreement was $600 a month, and we were living down in the basement, and but it went to $800 a month. We were paying her $8 because then all of a sudden I had to pay the electric and the water.
I object. That's not true.
What? She never increased the amount?
No.
At all?
No.
Okay. And you have evidence that you paid $6 at one time?
I don't have evidence.
Okay.
It's just my word. And
what did you say when she said you have to pay $200 more?
I just said, okay, I needed a roof over my head, so I agreed to it.
Okay.
And then when it came to the food, when I went upstairs to cook, all the utensils and dishes and pots and pans were all gone. Nothing in the kitchen, gone. So I had nothing to cook on. And then I went up there and the electric was off, so I couldn't cook. So
all you can do is drink that chocolate milk then.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice. You didn't cook, no electric, no anything. So that's all she saw was chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, that was part of the agreement was being able to use the kitchen to cook. We shared that. And we didn't have that, so then I don't know why.
Part of it that you would also be provided with utensils.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Is that somewhere?
No.
So why
Everything
are you
was
using that as a defense? Why didn't you go out and buy your own utensils?
I did.
Instead of waiting there and not eating. You just told me you didn't have anything to eat because you had no utensils.
Right.
And I thought that would be odd that a person would starve as opposed to going around the corner and spending $20 on a pot, a pan, a fork, and a knife.
And I did. And then there was no electric.
You didn't go without eating.
And then there was no electric. So then I went out and ate all the time.
I object.
The electric was never cut off?
No, I had my fuse went out on my stove or blew the breaker downstairs. I didn't
1
know
hour?
It went out, yeah, and then I called my electrician. He came back and he fixed it. It was maybe 3 days that we didn't have the stove.
Is that true? How many days do you say?
I don't know. I was downstairs, but I do know that I smelled the food. I'm going to go with the person that says they know. I'm going to go with the person that says they do know. You don't know. I had nothing to cook on. And then I went up there and the electric was off, so I couldn't cook. So
all you can do is drink that chocolate milk. Then.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice. You didn't cook, no electric, no anything. So that's all she saw was chocolate milk.
Yeah. So.
Defendant Faye Bruckerhoff is being sued by her sister, who claims while living together, Faye and her boyfriend fought constantly, never cleaned up after themselves, and smoked in the house.
All right, so far you went without electricity for 3 days and you went without pots and pans, I don't know how long, because you didn't really say. At first you led off saying you couldn't cook. That's what you said. That's how we got onto that. Until I reminded you that you could go around that corner and buy your own utensils as opposed to sitting up waiting on your sister. Cooking today, baby? Ordering out? Ordering in? Okay. Guess I won't eat today. That's how you came across, ma'am. All right. And so you deny it went up to 800. She says it did. And you also say it was only off the electricity for 3 days.
Right, and it was just the stove, not the electricity in the whole house.
And the microwave.
Okay.
I hate to say it, but her boyfriend was the last one to use the microwave. when it
Anything
quit.
else go wrong while you were living there? Arguing, fussing, fighting?
Yes.
What? What? Tell me what. You tell me.
Yes, the basement flooded where I was living, and she would leave big old notes saying, do the dishes, take the trash out, go buy toilet paper.
Did you remind her that we have no dishes? Remember? Go ahead. She would leave big notes saying clean up and take the trash out.
Yeah.
And you were offended by that, I bet.
Well, it wasn't
So they
my
bought them and
trash.
throw them on the floor.
It wasn't my trash. I took my trash out.
They cooked upstairs, so there was trash upstairs as well. I just wanted them to be.
You don't have to explain to me,
Okay.
ma'am. You know, I don't believe that you would just put signs up.
I did leave them notes. I didn't
That's
put
my
signs.
point,
Yeah.
that you would have to leave notes and there was nothing wrong. You had to see a minimal or something there to give you an indication that it's not as tidy as you prefer your premises to be.
Right.
And tell me about the actual months and the cost of the car. Actual months they failed to pay was what months?
Okay, they failed to pay October, November, December, and January. They moved out the end of January. October, November, December, October, November, December of 2020, and January of 21.
All right.
And then on the vehicle, I purchased the vehicle in August of 20 for $2,000, and we made an agreement that I would sell her the vehicle. She was supposed to get a settlement, and if she got the settlement before she made all the payments of $250 a month for 8 months, she would pay the vehicle off. Well, she never got the settlement, and she also never made me one payment on the vehicle, and they took the vehicle.
How much you think my brother owed me?
I don't know. More than that?
Yes, multiply this by 10 times.
Did you just see him?
Yesterday. No, day before yesterday. Went over there, had a great time with my brother and my favorite family in Detroit. All right, and the repayment was to come when she received what again?
She was supposed to start making payments of $250 a month starting September 1st.
When she received her?
No, she was
Okay.
just going to make $250 a month until she received her settlement, and then when she received her settlement, she would pay off any balance that was due.
All
And
right,
she never
ma'am,
paid.
what do you say?
The agreement was when I got my settlement, that's when I would make pay the van, for the van.
She's never
I
got her
don't
settlement.
recall anything about the $250 a month payment.
How about the rent?
The rent, well,
Did you
I-
miss those months?
I only did not pay the rent on the last month that I lived there.
I object, that's not true.
And that's when
Okay.
she locked us
And that
out of the
would be
house.
January?
And kept my belongings.
She locked you out?
And kept my
No,
belongings.
I object.
When? What week? What
That was,
month? Last week of December, beginning of
it
December?
was after December,
Like January?
January.
Okay, tell me what happened. You walked, because this is
Yeah,
part of your
I-
defense. You know you won't owe the rent if you're saying that she wouldn't let you get your things, or it's at the least withholding property.
Yes.
So you have to explain
Yes,
that.
she has held my property.
Tell me what happened
Well, I
exactly.
left and I stayed with my other sister for the night, and when I came back the next day, I was locked out and never was able to get back in.
I object.
What date was that approximately?
It was in January, say the second week of
Second
January.
week of January. You left, came back. She wouldn't allow you. She had changed the locks. Ma'am, did she change the
No,
locks?
I did not. No, the
You
locks
got
weren't
any
changed.
evidence of this, ma'am?
The key didn't work.
You lost the key I gave
No,
you.
any communications where you said, hey, sister, why did you change the locks? Why can't I get my things, sister?
Until I paid the money that I owe her.
I know this. Do you have any communications where she says that? Or is it all just your word?
I don't have any proof, but that's...
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Do you have any evidence of anything today? So far, you have no evidence of anything.
No, just my word.
Defendant Faye Bruckerhoff is being sued by her sister, who claims while living together, Faye and her boyfriend fought constantly, never cleaned up after themselves, and smoked in the house.
Okay, and what evidence do you have?
Well, I have a copy of the bill of sale, which is page 1,
Okay.
and then I have a copy of the page 8 of the lease agreement showing, our agreement on the lease. And when her boyfriend had left, he started moving his stuff out. So he moved out and was gone, took the van, and was gone for like 2 weeks. She stayed downstairs. This was in January of 2021. She stayed downstairs, didn't come up for like 2 weeks. Finally, my other sister came and picked her up one day, and she left. And I didn't hear from her. I didn't hear from her for probably another week or so.
That was the second week of January.
That was that. By then, that was probably the end. That was the end of January.
Okay.
So then I decided I started smelling something. So I went downstairs and I opened the door, and the place was trashed. It
And
was
you
trashed.
said you're not sure. She's giving me very specific details as to when it is, ma'am. All right, and so I'm going to grant you your rental costs. With regard to the car, she says, what are you just still waiting? That's your response to that, right?
Still waiting.
Yeah. What do you want me to do? She told you she'd give it to you when it comes.
We have an agreement too on that.
What's the agreement?
Agreement was she was to pay me $250 a month. I believe that might be the page 1.
Starting when?
September 1st.
Not just when she gets it.
September 1st, 2020.
All right, so it's $250, and then once you get your settlement, you'll pay it all. In
But-
the meantime, pay $250 a month.
Yes.
That's what you're saying the agreement was. And didn't charge you any interest. Starting September 1, payment of $250. Yep, same each month. The last payment, April 1st, when the vehicle is paid in full. On April 1st, you'll get the title. All right. Ma'am, you were dishonest. The agreement here says that you agreed to pay $250 every month up until the time you got your settlement. You said there was no agreement to begin paying immediately. Only once you got your settlement check were you to have to begin paying. Evidence showed differently. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Thank you. Well, I hope that we can have a good relationship after this, and that we can, be sisters again and enjoy each other's life and not fight.
Well, we'll always be sisters, but we'll still always have our disagreements. But I still love you.
I love you too.
Plaintiff James Tolbert says last year the defendant moved in across the street from James's mother, and she thought the defendant resembled James. James admits that he was intimate with the defendant's mother in high school, but he doesn't remember having sex with her. So he petitioned the court for a paternity test to see if the defendant is his biological daughter. Defendant Carmisha Williams is 26 years old, and she says she's been searching high and low for her biological father. Carmisha claims it wasn't until last year that her mother mentioned that James may be her father, so she's eager to find out the results of the paternity test.
Sir, you have petitioned the court for a DNA test
Yes, sir.
to determine whether you are Miss Williams' father.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me how this came about, because she seems to be very much an adult. How old are you?
I'm 26.
26. So tell me what occurred.
Well, sir, last year, Miss Williams moved across the street from my mother. It's a small town, so in that small town, everybody know everybody or know somebody that they're related to. So my mother had a conversation with Miss Williams in September, and upon that conversation, she realized Miss Williams kind of looked familiar to her. So she asked Miss Williams, "Who's your father?" Miss Williams stated that she didn't know who her father was, but she was always told it was this one particular guy. And so my mother...
Were you that particular guy?
No, it wasn't
Okay.
me. It was another gentleman. But there was never any paternity established at that time. So my mother...
So you never came up in the gossip, small towns gossip?
Never came up.
Go ahead.
Never came up. So my mother came home. So when she went home...
You don't know you came up, but go ahead. They've been talking about you, Doc.
Well, right.
Go ahead. It just
Well,
didn't get back to you.
Right. My mother went home and she called me. She asked me if I had ever slept with Miss Williams' mother. And I told her in high school, I remember us messing around, but I don't remember actually going all the way with her. She was like, "I don't know, boy, you might want to figure this out. She looks just like you." So I said, "Okay, well, send me a picture. Let me see a picture of her." So she invited Miss Williams over to the house. they took pictures of me off the wall. She holding pictures against her face, and I got evidence if you want to see it.
That had to be interesting. Let's see. That's how you hold the picture up against your face. All right. I don't know.
So
hold a picture up against nobody's face.
upon reviewing the photo, I could kind of see a resemblance. The eyes.
I don't know. She cute and you ugly, so I don't know what the resemblance is. We might be able to end this now.
Right. I can't be as cute as you, Judge. but she doesn't look like any of my other kids. I have 2 other kids, and
I have 3 brothers, and none of us look alike. Well, one is deceased, but none of us look alike. But we, as I age a little, I'm looking like my oldest brother.
Right.
Yeah, if you see my head starting to look awkward, that means I'm getting even older and looking more like him. My head is changing toward his. That's why you see me in a hat, because he never had girls because of his head. My wife started to tell me to wear a hat lately. So. But no, early years we didn't look alike. How old are your other children?
16 and 15.
Okay. And so, yeah, they got 10 more years. Go ahead.
So her mother calls me, and I asked if there was a possibility I could be her father. She states, yes, it's a possibility. I said, after all these years, why didn't I ever hear about this? She said, well, she always thought it was the other guy, and I was gone, and I stated I never
saw. She always thought, oh, okay, the guy who...
Yeah, the other guy,
right.
It. And I moved when I was 18. I joined the military, and I was out of there.
You all were kids.
Right.
Let's get to you. Why don't you tell me any background you'd like for me to know?
Well, again, of course, I'm 26 years old, and I've been searching high and low since I was younger.
Had she mentioned the other gentleman when you were growing up?
Yeah, she mentioned him. She swore up and down it was him.
So why did you keep looking?
Because, I mean, when I look at him, I didn't see nothing that he had that would resemble me. Like, I didn't
When did those doubts first arise? How old were you?
I was probably around 11, 12.
Okay.
His mom and his sister, they all came to visit me. I was staying in Forest City at the time, I do believe. They came to visit me, and his mom was so sure, oh yeah, that's my grandbaby. But he never wanted to take a test.
Did he provide for you or anything, or see you ever, or?
Nope. He saw me that one time when he came down.
All right.
So.
And when you were told he might be your father, James, what was your reaction?
Well, at the time that she told me, it was on my birthday, so I was actually out having dinner. So when she called me, I'm just like, it's a fine time to tell me. I'm not gonna interrupt my birthday dinner right now to go and look somebody up on Facebook. But I did eventually go look him up, and I told her, I may see some kind of resemblance, but at the same time, I feel like I got my own look, so.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't hear about him up until last year. I didn't know. I heard one name for 25 years, and that was his. I never heard his name.
Okay, so what do you hope the result is today?
I mean, I hope it's positive, just so I can get it all put behind me. I've been going through this forever, I feel like, and I'm just.
What do you feel like if it's negative?
Well, if it's negative, I'm just gonna let it go.
You don't think it might be the other person? Because we know that, or you should know as well, or learn, or read up on, or talk to your doctor, that, yeah, you don't always have the same characteristics as the immediate parent. Could jump around. You could look just like his great-great-grandmother. Not look like him at all. So that's how genetics work. So just because he doesn't look like you, so, and like I said, I can't tell whether he looks like you or not. You cute.
Thank you.
Well, no, if she is your daughter, how will you feel?
So I'll feel good. I've talked to her since September. We've established a relationship. She has a son. He's 1, so that would make me a grandfather. So I just want her to know who her father is, and if it's me, I'm stepping up, because Once I found out about her, I felt like I had to do something as a man and help her find who her father was. And if it's me,
Defendant Carmisha Williams was told last year that the plaintiff may be her biological father. So she agreed to take a DNA test so she could find out the truth.
What has gone on in this past year that you all met?
well, back in October, I went home to visit family, and I went and met her, and I met her son, and instantly, you know, I of course I looked at her, looking over and trying to see if she looked like me, and but just talking to her, you know, it kind of breaks my heart that she didn't know who her father was all these years. So I just, you know, been reaching out to her, and she reached out to me, and I'm trying to provide that male role model.
Okay,
that
so you all have been in
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Communication. All right. Well, let's see, Doyle, if you would. The DNA test. How far do you live from each other?
It's a 16-hour drive.
16 hours.
Yes, sir.
That's quite a ways. However, most ugly men have plenty of money. They don't have time to spend with no woman won't spend time with them. So if it is the case that you're her father, then you would have enough money, but I don't know about time, and I don't know if you all would want to. Yeah, let her check it out. What does it say?
In the case of Carmisha Williams, James Talbot is the father.
Woo!
Oh my God, here we go. I'm just going to continue to build upon the relationship that we've already established, and I'm looking forward to getting to know her and her baby, my grandchild, better.
Cool.
Well, same thing, just trying to build a relationship. I mean, it's been 26 years, but and it's never too late to build a relationship or a bond.
We recently spoke with plaintiff James Tolbert and defendant Carmisha Williams, who both told us that they have had a great relationship since finding out they are father and daughter. Carmisha told us that James has visited her a few times, and she was supposed to meet her other siblings, but COVID derailed their plans. Carmisha also told us that she has since had another child, and James is a proud grandfather.